fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
It's a safe shot, pin high left with a 6-iron. And then this is where JJ enters the fray again and hits this like slice 5-iron. That was just, I mean, it curved probably a good, 30, 40 feet, almost flies in the hole. And it was just a crazy shot because nobody would ever really try to hit that type of slider.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
An HRR, parlay a combo that you want to do. I generally prefer away teams and players that hit at the top of the lineup or in the top half, just because you are guaranteed just that extra plate appearance here or there. How many times, throughout the season, I've been like, listen, if this guy gets on, he will have one more at bat in the 9th inning. And if he doesn't get there, he doesn't get there. If you just take them that place higher, they're going to be in a spot to cash that bag.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
Rise and grind. It's the early line. It's a Tuesday morning right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's your boy Donnie right side. It's Joe Ranieri. It's what we do every single Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on the grid. Our job as usual, set the table for your SportsGrid day because why? A lot of things happened last night. A lot will happen today. We are your morning newspaper, just in digital form, Joe. The energy is high. The anger is here from a couple wagers last night. So I'm going to let the people know we're going to get it popping today.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we got a bunch right last night. It was good, including the Monday night football game, which was never in doubt to the over. But there are a lot of interesting things happening as we get ready for the final week of the preseason, and now 2 weeks away from the regular season. Donnie, you ready for it?
I'm ready. Teams are playing good football. And by the way, I went on yesterday with Game Time Decisions with Tom Vecchio, and I know we talked about in the morning. Did anybody not, if there was one day for the books to get beat up, it was like, hey, just take a first quarter or a first half over. They were scorched earth policy, man, in the first half. 28 points by the Bengals, 14 by Washington, easily getting over that total. But you're right, Joe. We got a lot of hot topics to get through. Let's start it right now with the 7 and 7, the hottest topics across the sports landscape, which included Monday Night Football dress rehearsal. The Bengals, Joe, they want a hot start. They don't want to go 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. Joe Burrow, 9 of 14, 62 yards and a touchdown. Jake Browning looked like he was the next coming of Joe Burrow last night. 16 of 25 for $159 and 2 touchdowns here. The Bengals offense is moving and grooving in the preseason.
And believe it or not, Donnie, this marked their first preseason win since 2022. They had gone 7 straight without winning a preseason game. And then, of course, we all know that they don't start the season very well either. So maybe, just maybe, this could be a different Bengals start to the season.
Maybe it could be. Maybe they're just getting that offense in gear. But the one thing they were going to worry about and talk about in just a little bit is Trey Hendrickson. He don't seem like he's in gear right now, but we'll get to that later. You know who else isn't in gear? Washington, 0-2 in the preseason. Only a couple snaps there last night, for a starting quarterback. No passing yards, but a touchdown run for Mr. Jaden Daniels. But how about this? Josh Johnson plays. Sam Hartman plays. Brian Robinson Jr., misses that football game. he's in jeopardy of getting cut right now. And Terry McLaurin's like, I'm not showing up there, Joe. Washington, a lot of question marks here before we get to week 1.
Yeah, well, it does appear that Brian Robinson Jr. is probably played his last game for the Washington Commanders because he wasn't even in the building last night. And we keep hearing the trade rumors that there is a deal about to be done. So he probably won't be on the team by the time they take on the Patriots in the final preseason game, which is unfortunate. But it looks like he'll be playing for somebody else soon here.
Chris Rodriguez Jr., 6 carries, 62 yards in his absence. But also, you know what tripped me up right there? Like, I was like, I know I saw Jaden Daniels get interviewed. I know Jaden Daniels played last night. I know Jaden Daniels scored a touchdown. And when we look at the passing statistics, he didn't throw a pass. So it threw me off. But yes, he did play in that game last night. Wanted some more action. Didn't get it. 14-point win by the Bengals as they get their first win, as Joe says, in a couple years in the preseason. Let's keep moving forward because starting quarterback, certainly that's the game plan in the preseason. Get them ready to go to start week number 1. The Cleveland Browns have made their decision. It's Joe Flacco, week 1 versus the Bengals, who we just saw last night.
Wow, that was just shocking. I don't think any of us saw that coming, Donnie. I mean, who'd have thunk it? The Browns, who bubble wrapped Joe Flacco from the start of the preseason, have somehow now managed to name him quarterback 1. And the best part is they named him quarterback 1, and all reports were over Shedeur Sanders. But I didn't realize Shedeur Sanders was all of a sudden listed as the 4th-string quarterback, and somehow now the 2nd-string quarterback, so he's the backup now? Like, what are you you're already screwing it up, Cleveland. Congratulations.
Yeah, I have an issue with this. We have a topic set up a little bit later in the show, but like, I understand you're trying to preserve yourself, and wins are the most important thing in the NFL. But Joe Flacco getting multiple starts does not make sense for for the Cleveland Browns. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show, but more hot topics on the way, which includes maybe one of the biggest things that is getting passed over in the NFL so far is, don't you worry, Joe. Matthew Stafford's going to be just fine. It's going to show up week number 1. That back issue is going to go away. I'm not so sure of that. And we're seeing the preseason right now for the Los Angeles Rams get a lot of backup quarterbacks, a lot of time, just in case maybe Matthew Stafford can't go. But he's back to practice. I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, cameras were on him. He was going through practice, no problem. So, listen, fingers crossed. The guy is, 17 years in the league here, Donnie, 37-year-old quarterback. You're always crossing your fingers anytime he walks out onto the field going, all right, let him be. Let's just get him out of here in one piece. He is going to be pretty important to the success of the Rams, but it was good to see him out there. Not where he's, again, bubble wrapped on the sideline waiting for the season to start.
The Rams offense, Joe, is ready to cook, but you need that head chef in line, and that's Matthew Stafford. And here's the worry about it. I was asked yesterday by Tom Vecchio, too, is the problem is not game number 1 or game number 2. When your back hurts to start the season, Joe, do you ever hear of somebody go week 7? Never felt better. Like, no, it usually degrades throughout the entire season. Something to watch here, and we'll see what happens. How about the Milwaukee Brewers? Oh, no. Win streak snapped. Oh, yeah. 7-0 victory yesterday over the Cubs, putting the Cubs back in their place and the Brewers back in the win column.
Maybe the best thing that happened to Cubs yesterday is that second game got rained out that they'll have to make up today because they looked abysmal again offensively, which was the thing we talked about yesterday, Donnie. This is not the same Cubs offense it was in the first half of the season. That team is nowhere to be found right now, and Peralta, 6 innings, no earned runs, just 1 hit was pretty darn impressive. And just like that, they may have lost 1 game to Cincinnati, but they weren't about to start off losing a doubleheader to the Chicago Cubs.
And what happened to the Houston Astros offense? And what happened to the Houston Astros pitching here over the past couple days? And also, anger for me once again. Detroit, hey, how about your 1 run against Minnesota turn into a 10 spot on a Monday night? The Tigers absolutely waste the Stros.
We talked about it yesterday, too, Donnie. Listen, I thought we were getting runs in this game, but I thought Houston would play its role, but they didn't have to because Detroit lit up Arrighetti and anybody else that they rolled out there. So we got the over single-handedly by the Tigers, but my goodness, Houston in a tailspin right now, Don.
Yeah, tailspin. No tailspin here for Iga Swiatek as she defeats Jasmine Paolini in the Cincinnati Open final. Did you watch that one? Did you bet that one? How'd that go?
I did not, but I know there are a few people behind the scenes that might have had $2 on that parlay there, Donnie. So let's not forget tennis alive and well here, Donnie, on the early line.
Yeah, alive and well, fantastic. And I know there's people that do like tennis behind the scenes here. Maybe that does change in a couple days where we don't even have to cover the U.S. Open coming up. Joe, would you like that? No coverage of the U.S. Open because we got to talk football?
Yes, I actually went to a U.S. Open once, Donnie. I don't remember much of it because I was blasted, but it was, from all indications, it was actually a pretty nice event.
How about this event here? Justin Jefferson getting back on the football field to practice after over 20-plus days on the sideline due to those pesky hamstring injuries. The man is back in town here for J.J. McCarthy.
I hate hamstring injuries this time of year with wide receivers and running backs. They just, it's off to the wrong start, if you ask me, from a health perspective.
You know, it's off to the wrong start sometimes, Joe. Like, man, not so much flexible here. There's a first baseman up in Toronto that had a little bit too much flex. We'll talk about that and much more next right here on the early line.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hour number one in full effect right here on the Early Line SportsGrid Network. Joe Ranieri, Donnie Wright's out here. And by the way, we're leaving off that last segment. We'll bring up the hot topics here, Joe. I know you're watching a baseball game, Pittsburgh Pirates and the Toronto Blue Jays. Hey, man, sometimes you leave it out there on the field. Sometimes you leave a little bit too much out there on the field. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., does he feel okay today? Like, any prognosis from you, the doctor?
Yeah, I got to tell you, Donnie, I'm watching that game last night, and he makes the stretch of all stretches at first base to get out of an inning, and I was hurting sitting on the couch watching that. I think even my voice went up an octave, and I was like, my goodness, is this big man in great shape to do a split like that? Come to find out the next inning, he was back in the trainer's room. That was the end of that. He might have a hamstring injury moving forward here, Donnie.
First place, Toronto Blue Jays can't have that. Skeens comes to town here, deals you there. Now you might lose Vladdy Jr. Not a good sign here. The New York Yankees might be playing better baseball. They're playing in Tampa today. We'll see if they can close the gap. But before we get there, Major League Baseball, we did have a big deal on Monday Night Football. I was like, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, the primetime games. Forget about Thursday Night Football. That's just ridiculous and its end. But I do enjoy Monday night. Was watching it here. You want to get a little Joe Buck in the action. You want to get some Troy Aikman, see how the boys are turning out on the field. And the one anticipating thing that we loved is you knew you were going to get a pretty good offensive performance out of these two teams. Starters playing on those first 2-3 drives here, and you saw 28 points in the first half from the Cincinnati Bengals. And by the way, Jake Browning looked really good in that game, but when you take a look at the wide receiver Mitchell Tinsley out there, 5 catches, 73 yards, and 2 really, really nice touchdown catches. But I liked what I see out of the Bengals. Let me ask you this too. Was there any sharps that this goes, that 39.5 up to 43.5? That's ridiculous. You got to take the under. I don't think anybody from a public side has been watching preseason football and looked at that game on Monday night and was like, this is the perfect under. It just felt destined to go over, and it was a rocket ship in that first half.
We talked about it yesterday, Donnie, when we had said there's only one way to look. 43.5 for a preseason game it has been laughable, right? You would look at that and go, I don't think so. But in this particular case, with everything that's coming out of the Cincinnati Bengals camp with Coach Zach Taylor and company, we knew Burrow and company were going out there and treating this thing like it was a regular season game. We knew we were going to get some starters from Washington, and in all likelihood, not with no Trey Hendrickson still. We probably weren't going to get a whole lot of anything out of both of these defenses. A lot of up-tempo, a lot of big plays. Exactly why it got steamed up 4.5 points to the totals, because, that total was almost good in the first half, Donnie, much less the full game.
Yeah, scorched it there. And also, I did like that first little taste because I knew the Bengals would come out hot. You were just trying to extrapolate off of that first Philadelphia Eagles game. They look good. Vanilla scheme on defense. You should be able to pick them apart. They did. They did score a touchdown on their opening drive, but it was a handoff to Chase Brown on a 4th and 1. I was hoping for the touchdown pass. Wasn't able to get that. But looking from a Commanders side last night as well, Josh Johnson, Sam Hartman, they were taking the bulk of the snaps there. They didn't want to put Jaden Daniels in harm's way. They're still trying to work out their backfield. Terry McLaurin still not showing up to camp. We look at the Bengals and say they're doing things the right way outside of Trey Hendrickson, who should be there because they need his help on defense. But Washington, after that NFC Championship run last year, comes back into town. Backfield uncertain, as I said. Terry McLaurin not there. We still expect big things from Washington, but when are they going to get on the same page, Joe?
Yeah, well, the Bengals better figure it out defensively, Trey Hendrickson, because they were once again, for the second straight game, Donnie, they were carved up like nothing. They were absolutely getting blown off the ball. We had Deebo Samuel, big runs. We've seen they just got gashed for the second week in a row, and those were the starters, the first team defense. Al Golden, my thoughts on Al Golden. I thought Lou Anarumo got set up. I thought he was the fall guy for this organization and Zach Taylor last year. He is one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. If he couldn't get this defense to show up and show up, Al Golden is absolutely not going to do it, especially without Hendrickson on the field for him.
It's hard to tell what sort of defense we're going to get until you see them game planning and scheming. You will see in week number 1 where the Cincinnati Bengals are going to take on the Cleveland Browns. But you're right about getting gashed. 30 carries, 185 yards on the ground, 6.2 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns for the Washington offense. Now, also on top of that, it's okay, what are they doing? Grinding down the field and, going down. Look at the long runs, Joe. Rodriguez Jr., 40. Krosky Merritt, 27, Hartman 15, Deebo 19, Jaden Daniels 14. These guys were ripping off chunk after chunk after chunk.
17.7 yards per carry against the starters. That is what the Commanders averaged on the ground against them. That is unacceptable. And listen, granted, you're not going to be blitzing. You're not showing anything exotic, but getting blown off the ball is getting blown off the ball, right? Getting manhandled, Donnie, your starters against the Commanders is unacceptable in any way. You can't give up 17, 18 yards a carry and expect us to be like, nah, it's just preseason. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. It's all going to work out.
And by the way, Joe Burrow running for his life a couple times in the first half was kind of fun. Like, oh, no, don't get injured. So I'll ask you this, too. Like, you saw, Joe Burrow, game number 1 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Offense looked pretty smooth. Game number 2, Cincinnati Bengals playing Washington. Offense looked pretty smooth with Joe Burrow on the field. Game number 3 of the preseason. Zach Taylor told you that they're going to play more in the preseason. They played a good amount in games 1 and games 2. Do we see Joe Burrow in game number 3 of the preseason just to make sure we stay hot for the regular season?
Listen, I hope not, because watching him run around in that backfield like his hair was on fire and he was running for his life was not there had to be a lot of Bengal fans going, what are we doing? Like, why is he out on the field? Where's he going? Stop, fall down. But let's hope that, listen, you did what you wanted to do the first 2 games. You got the starters ready to go, more ready than they've been in any other season here under Zach Taylor. Let's just figure out the backups now for week 3.
Yeah, they got the Brownies up in week number 1. If you're looking for the Washington Commanders and maybe Jaden Daniels get some burn in week number 3, probably not going to happen. They're going to face the New York Giants at home Sunday, September the 7th at 1 p.m. So everybody getting closer to that regular season. You're going to see a lot of cuts coming up this week, too, because you're going to have veterans that are going to hit their teams can certainly replace. But also, as we talked about the Washington backfield, there might be some cuts there as well. How about a cut maybe to a back and a surgery? Matthew Stafford, let's get him next.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Justin Rose has done it so many times in his career. That's like he's so good at everything. There's nothing that he's bad at. Every part of his game is at close to a elite level when it's good. And so when he had it going on this week, he's not scared, dude. When he gets that look in his eye, watch out.
The Smiley Show, only on
If you don't like getting hit, you can't do BKFC point blank.
Oh, absolutely. Like in the MMA world, you have opportunities to negate getting hit more so than BKFC. You can get a takedown, you can secure a dominant position where you're less likely to get hit. And even if you are getting hit, you're less damaging because of your position.
Combat Sports Report, only on SportsGrid.
Right back at you. I love the Los Angeles Rams in this offseason, Joe Ranieri. I love what they did. I love their head coach. I love their quarterback. I love their wide receivers. I love their running back. I love their front seven. What's the song out there? I love L.A. You could catch me as an L.A. fan. But there are starting to see some cracks in the foundation. and maybe cracks in the back of Matthew Stafford. Here's our head coach, Sean McVay, giving us a little bit of piece of information, huh?
I know you guys will be wondering, it was good to be able to have Matthew out there. He did a good job today. I thought he looked good, but, I don't really have any updates. I think there was a lot of intended information, but there's no updates. We're going to keep it a day and really a week at a time, but it was great to be able to see him out there today, and, we'll see how this afternoon goes and tomorrow. There's really no, I'm not going to pigeonhole myself into any plans, and so we're just really, seeing how he feels. We're truly taking it a day at a time and a week at a time right now. I think we're just taking it a day at a time, and I mean that too, because, what I'm not going to do is sit here and go back and forth every single day. I don't think that's fair to anybody involved. That's not, it's not accurate with what's going on with the situation either. And so we're trying to, get our hands on it. We're trying to do right by, the player number one and in our team. And so, it was good to be able to have him out there today.
Good to be able to have him out there, quote unquote, today, Joe. That doesn't mean tomorrow. That doesn't mean I threw 50 passes that don't feel good. That doesn't mean a 320-pound defensive tackle will land on top of him as soon as the regular season begins. Then we'll see if that back can hold up. There's a lot of issues here with the Rams, and it's a shame because if you get a healthy Matthew Stafford this year, they will do damage. If you don't get a healthy Matthew Stafford this year, I don't know where the Rams go, Joe.
They're going to go to the Super Bowl, man. Stetson Bennett is here to the rescue. He's won a few. He's got a few rings on that finger. But if I'm not mistaken, Donnie, I think McVay and the Rams are going to take it week by week. I think that is safe to say, since he only said it 19 times during that interview, that they're going to take things week by week. And the fact that he was out there, not just hanging around, but that he was able to do more than, standing on the sideline and throwing, doing his own individual work. He was taking part he took all the reps with the team's 11-on-11 with all the starters. So he was doing more than just being bubble wrapped and shelved on the sideline by himself away from the other players. I think that is a good sign, but take this out of the equation. Even if there was no back issue right now, he's still a 37-year-old quarterback that has a history of dealing with back issues. So you're always going to hold your breath when he gets hit one way or the other this year, just like Donnie, we have been doing for the last 5 years with him?
It's when you look at the situation itself, because, professional athletes are not the common individual. Hey, I hurt my back. Oh, we can fit you in the rehab in 3 weeks. Can you make it till 3 weeks? They get world-class health care 24/7 on whatever injury they have. So you might say, like, Don, that's really good. Then he should be at the same time. Like, wait a second. He hasn't been able to get back on the practice field for weeks at a time when he has 24/7 care trying to get that back in there. And the one thing, like, it's not a golf where it's like, okay, I just put torque on my back, because nobody's coming out of the gallery and knocking you over after your golf swing. Like, hey, bang, just got knocked onto the ground. Matthew Stafford is going to drop back 35 plus times in a game. Half of those times he's going to get hit. 5 or 6 of those times a chance for a sack, which means that player lands on top of you. And then if you're throwing the ball 35 times a game, correct me if I'm wrong, that dude has a howitzer, which means he is putting a lot of torque on his body every single throw he makes. That's my worry. Like, if I'm trying to bet season-long statistics on the Rams, I can't do it. Your point was very valid, Joe. Week to week right now, that you can't win a championship when you're going week to week in week number 1. Like, that's the worry. Joe, he could come out week number 1, look fantastic against the Texans. And I'd say, okay, that's great. But then we worry about, how does he do Monday? Like, remember the guys with the knee injury? Hey, we'll work him out Monday, give him off Tuesday to see if it flares up. Boy, oh boy, this is going to be a long soap opera for the Rams, it feels like.
It's been like that for a while now. I mean, the beating that he took in his career in Detroit was no joke. And he's had issues already with the Rams. This is a guy that's it. What, a 37-year-old quarterback, you're holding your breath every time he gets under center in a real game, Donnie, hoping that he doesn't get hit and that he gets up after he does. That is just the reality of a 37-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like, you hope he stands up. Like, if you bet the Rams, you need him every single game. If you bet Puka Nacua, if you bet, Devontae Adams prop bets, you need him there every game. We just don't know that at this point. But we know who's going to be there game number 1. Joe Flacco of the Cleveland Browns.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point if Aaron Jones misses time where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
It's a safe shot, pin high left with a 6-iron. And then this is where JJ enters the fray again and hits this like slice 5-iron. That was just, I mean, it curved probably a good, 30, 40 feet, almost flies in the hole. And it was just a crazy shot because nobody would ever really try to hit that type of slider.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
An HRR, parlay a combo that you want to do. I generally prefer away teams and players that hit at the top of the lineup or in the top half, just because you are guaranteed just that extra plate appearance here or there. How many times, throughout the season, I've been like, listen, if this guy gets on, he will have one more at bat in the 9th inning, and if he doesn't get there, he doesn't get there. If you just take them that place higher, they're going to be in a spot to cash that bag.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what to do here, Joe Ranieri, because sometimes I think the right decisions are being made, but for the wrong time frame. And we'll get into that right now with the Cleveland Browns. Stoney writes out, it's Joe Ranieri. It's the early line, the hottest topics. We get you through those and give you opinions that do matter. Ian Rappaport tweeted yesterday, the Browns are naming quarterback Joe Flacco their starter. The end of a training camp competition that never really was. Flacco quickly emerged as QB1 while the others battled injuries. The player who led them to the playoffs in 2023 is back. I want to start here with this because we'll go over the prognosis for the season and what that means for the Cleveland Browns itself. But I've sort of taken on a different train of thought, let's just say, over the past 5 to 6 years on how I think teams should operate throughout professional sports. Either, Joe, you are building for a championship or you are going backwards so you can then hit rock bottom, then start building for a championship. So Joe Flacco doesn't surprise me. He's being named starter in game number 1. It doesn't. So let's go with that. Joe Flacco, named by the Browns, starter week 1. Your initial thoughts?
The least surprising news of the day,
Me too.
Donnie.
Yep.
What did we think was going to happen? We all knew. First of all, Flacco's the only guy that has been taking reps with the starters from the beginning of training camp. Like, he's it. So we've always known that Flacco is the guy that they are going to start the season with. The problem is it gets real murky after that. We haven't seen Kenny Pickett. But all indications are that if this hamstring is good to go, that the organization and the coaches are already comfortable with him being the number 2 pick, being the backup here, because they have seen enough. They don't need to see him in the preseason to know he's more than capable of being the backup. Well, then that leaves 2 rookies, and you're not going to develop both of them. I didn't see, and this is where it gets real unfortunate for Shedeur Sanders, because it would have been great for him to be able to follow up that second preseason, that first opportunity with the second one. But unfortunately, the oblique kind of threw a wrench into that. So Now we've seen Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Can you tell me, is there a difference between what we've seen in one game with these guys? No. It's all about the organization figuring out when the season goes south, and it is going to go south. If you're building for the future at that point, well, then who are you taking under your wing and cultivating as the next face of your organization? Is it Dylan Gabriel or is it Shedeur Sanders? That's the big question, but I don't think we're going to know that until week 1.
We're going to get to that quarterback depth chart because you're bringing up some pretty good points that I certainly don't want to forget, and we're going to touch on those. But if we just bring it back to Joe Flacco, right? He didn't do anything wrong. He was brought in to compete. That's his job. And he is the starter because there were injuries and on top of injuries. He's the only guy that didn't get injured, which is funny because he's the oldest guy by a mile in that room. But also understand like how an organization works. The owner is always going to make money regardless if the team wins or loses, but also wants to understand he wants a pathway to eventually being a champion. Now, Jimmy Haslam, say what you want about him, great owner, bad owner. I mean, the results speak for themselves. Cleveland stinks under his ownership, so that's probably where we should start. But if we are looking towards the season, do you know a general manager keeps his job? Do you know a head coach keeps his job? Getting wins on the football field. And sometimes they go in the self-preservation mode, and you can't fault them. It's a very honest head coach that goes, you know what? I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to do the right thing for the organization, and they're going to fire me out the door at the end of the season when I win 3 football games. But trust me, this organization will be better because nobody wants to lose their job. Self-preservation mode is key. But I understand this. Flacco is healthy. He's going to start week number 1. But my question is, after we get through weeks 5, 6, and 7, there's no point to Cleveland's season whatsoever. And also, Joe, we're not coming in to Cleveland like, hey, you know what? That's an 8.5 win total team if, let's just say, Shedeur Sanders was going to play with high expectations. Boy, if we can just get Flacco to hold that fort down, like we're a playoff team right now, and we're expected to make the playoffs, which they're not. I'm just playing devil's advocate. They're not. They're supposed to be, Joe, one of the worst teams in the NFL, starting a fossil at quarterback. That doesn't make any sense. So for me, the over-under on Flacco, like I put out a tweet yesterday. I would fire the general manager and Kevin Stefanski if I get 5 starts from Joe Flacco this year. I'll fire him, Joe.
I mean, the problem with this organization, Donnie, is this is the same organization that traded with Houston for Deshaun Watson and then forced Stefanski to have to play him because they invested $200 million into him, even though any football sound mind knows I mean, the best days are long behind him, but you kept rolling him out, not because Stefanski wanted to roll him out. He took one for ownership who actually went out and gave him the money and traded for him. So this is the kind of situation where I think ownership and the coaching staff says, we can't start the season sending the message to the fan base and everyone else. All right, it's a lost season, guys. We're just going to start rookies who have never taken a snap in the NFL, and here we go. Flacco is the safest bet for the Browns to start this season. How many games does he get? 2, 3, maybe? Maybe he gets hurt. We haven't seen him. But I can tell you this, as of right now in that room, you have to believe that everything they've seen in camp, Flacco gives them the best shot at looking like any sort of offense that might be able to win a game or 2 here this season. That's the only reason he's the starter, because the other 3 guys, let's face it, we don't think they can win a game. Flacco can probably win you a couple of games. I'm not sure anybody else there can right now.
That's the tough part with me, though. Like, Brian Flores got fired for the Miami Dolphins. He was incompetent as a head coach, but certainly the ownership group was telling him, don't you win games. Like, you want to get a good quarterback and good players, you'll be here next year. Don't win. And he let that story leak out, and now they're in a lawsuit. So if you are Jimmy Haslam, you do have to walk a tight rope, but you have to understand how to communicate to your general manager and your coach. Guys, you are going to be back no matter what next year. You know what? I don't know if Joe Flacco starts week number 1. Like, if you get a commitment from the ownership group that let's do this the right way, I don't think Joe Flacco is a start. Maybe he's just, hey, look, he has to start week 1. These kids are injured right now. They don't have enough under their belt. Give them 2 to 3 weeks. I understand that. But if Flacco's 1-5 after 6 games and he's still out there, that's incompetence from an organization. Now, let's have some fun with this. The Cleveland Browns quarterback room. NFL general managers are sneaky, Joe. And this is the time of the year where they use their most devious answers and their most devious questions out here to go, ooh, you got a shoulder injury, don't you? Wink, wink. We're going to keep you on the IL for this year, and we'll bring you back next year, bigger, stronger, and faster, but we don't have to lose you here or cut you. they're not carrying 4 active quarterbacks on this roster. It will not be Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders all active. So here we go. Is there a quarterback 1 through 4 right there, which you know it's not going to be Flacco who's starting week 1? Is there a quarterback that gets the wink, wink, your oblique hurts? Oh, you can't play this year, but we're not going to lose your rights?
It could very well be. Nothing would shock me with this organization. Again, they are still committed to Deshaun Watson for more money than they know what to do with, which is why they are in this problem to begin with. But I think it's going to come down to who's the second quarterback, Donnie? Is it, in fact, Pickett, who hasn't apparently taken a snap with the hamstring? Are we going into the season just going on experience? And if that's the case, if it is Flacco and Pickett, then you're not holding 2 rookie quarterbacks to mold them and to bring them along. So one of them is going to have to go. The question to me is, which one? Which one are you going to keep and develop as the future quarterback of your organization? You're going to have to keep one of them, right, Donnie? So which one is it going to be?
That's true. It's so true. It is a tough decision to make. But again, leadership makes this a lot easier on how those game plans are going to filter out. As we said, Joe Flacco just might be the starter by default because he's taken the snaps. He's in the quarterback room. He's played for a long time, and he's not injured at this point. You're not putting a young injured quarterback week number 1 out there to try to go win a football game. I understand why he's starting the season, but he can't continue. Like, Joe Flacco should not start a game outside of September. Otherwise, it's malpractice. Once again, their win total for the season is not 9.5, Joe, go out there and make the playoffs. It's 4.5, which means you are going to be a bottom of the barrel team. Find out what you have in the young kids at quarterback. See if they can play, because if they can't, you're going to stink. You'll get a quarterback next year in the draft. If those kids show promise, you might still be a bad team and get a dominant wide receiver or tight end or offensive lineman or defensive tackle or See where we're going with this point here? Make the right decisions, Cleveland Browns. Maybe it is the right decision to have Joe Flacco out there. More Hot Topics next, right here on the Early Line.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
It's a safe shot, pin high left with a 6-iron. And then this is where JJ enters the fray again and hits this like slice 5-iron. That was just, I mean, it curved probably a good, 30, 40 feet, almost flies in the hole. And it was just a crazy shot because nobody would ever really try to hit that type of slider.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
An HRR, parlay a combo that you want to do. I generally prefer away teams and players that hit at the top of the lineup or in the top half, just because you are guaranteed just that extra plate appearance here or there. How many times, throughout the season, I've been like, listen, if this guy gets on, he will have one more at bat in the 9th inning. And if he doesn't get there, he doesn't get there. If you just take them that place higher, you're going to be in a spot to cash that day.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football talk transitioning over here to baseball talk now. Big doings on the diamond yesterday on a Monday. And it was going to be interesting to see how this week went, Joe, because we talked about it yesterday. Hey, that NL Central, it looks like it's over, but it could get interesting this week with 5 games between the Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. Yesterday was supposed to be a doubleheader. One of those games got rained out. And quite frankly, if they played game number 2, Cubs might have just got shut out again and got beat down by the Brewers because game number 1 yesterday, a 7-0 win. Only 2 hits for the Cubs. Peralta was a genius out there. Horton got blown up early, and the Brewers just look like they're ready to say, okay, if you thought you had some fun and we had a 14-game win streak, we might just put a 14-game win streak right on your head and win these next 5 games in your own building. A chance it felt like for the Cubs to make one last stand. Now it looks like it was Custer's last stand after a 7-0 beatdown yesterday.
And it's so funny, Donnie, because people are going, when you look at some of these numbers for them, right? 53-17 since May 24th. Again, 53-17 since May 24th. People have been, and you and I have been talking about it now for 2 weeks, going, I do not understand why they are pricing the Brewers. That you're pricing them like you keep waiting for the wheels to fall off, and they have not fallen off. Yesterday, a lot of people thought, all right, coming off of that loss to Cincinnati, here we go. Now the Cubs are going to get to them, and that's going to be a letdown. And no, it wasn't. It was an absolute smackdown of a game. Let's face it, that game yesterday, this whole series means way more to who, Donnie? Not the Brewers. It means way more to the Cubs, and the Cubs showed up with 1 hit against Peralta and could not score a run, but yet they gave up 7. Your rookie phenom, Cade Horton, who hadn't given up, a run in how many innings? 20-some-odd innings? Yeah, gave up a few yesterday, and that is this Brewers team. Listen, there might be, maybe some 2 or 3 game losing streaks between now and the end of the season, but think that the wheels are going to fall off for a team that has the 8th lowest payroll in all of Major League Baseball, I think is ridiculous. I think we're out of our mind if we think this team is going away anytime soon.
Yeah, take a look at the first 4 batters in the lineup, which were absolute linchpins for the first part of the Major League Baseball season, Joe. Michael Busch yesterday, a smooth 0-3 with 2 Ks, 258 batting average now in the season. Justin Turner, aging veteran here. Oh, let me get a pinch hit in there. Yeah, you're hitting 217 on the season. Then you go to Tucker, who's like, hey, this guy could be an MVP. Yeah, he went 0 for 4 yesterday. His average now down to 261. Seiya Suzuki, that guy makes contact all the time. Oh, he went 1 for 3 yesterday. He improved to 250 for his batting average. And Pete Crow Armstrong, that I was led to believe that he might take down Shohei Ohtani to be the MVP. Another 0 for 3 with a strikeout yesterday. He's down to 259. It's almost like the pitching hasn't been great, but the bats absolutely disappeared. And if you wanted them to sort of get that spark, like, okay, Brewers are in town. Now let's get them. Let's ambush them. 4-1 in this series. We can now make a couple games up and put the pressure on them. 7-0 right off the bat. And then you don't even get a chance to go out in game number 2 and say, okay, let's get that game back quickly here. You got to let it stew for another doubleheader that's going to take place today. So if we look at the standings here in the NL Central, we're led to believe, again, this could be fun. This could get exciting. No, it's not. The Brewers are back up 9 games here, 14 over the Cincinnati Reds. This is a wrap. And it almost makes me feel like we were joking. Who could win this series 3-2, 4-1? The Brewers might just win at 5-0. They're playing that good at baseball.
And you got to look, it's got to start at the top with Pat Murphy, their manager, who, if I'm not mistaken, Donnie, was the manager of the year last year. And I don't know how you don't give it to him again this year, no matter what happens. Right. Point out, a team with the 8th least payroll here in Major League Baseball. They've got one brand name. The guy that's making the most money is Christian Yelich. And everybody says the same thing. The guy leads by example. This team is filled with a bunch of younger, no superstar guys, but you know what they do better than anybody else, Donnie, is they play the game of baseball. They hit cutoff men. They run the bases right. They take the extra bases. They're not swinging for home runs at 0-2 on the count. This is a team that plays baseball, and it's working. Go figure, Donnie. Teams that get fundamentals down can actually win in Major League Baseball and not rely just on a home run.
plays out on a day-to-day basis as it is right now for the Chicago Cubs, who got to take on 4 more games against the Milwaukee Brewers. Other recaps out there, Houston and Detroit. Frustrating team for me. Bet them on Sunday here, don't show up, scored 10 yesterday. But I want to focus here more on Houston. If we go back in time, and not too far back in the distance here, the second game against the Boston Red Sox that the Houston Astros played, I'm going to read you some scores over the last half dozen or so games. Red Sox 14-1 over the Astros. Then they come back with a victory 4-1 over the Red Sox. Then they lose to the Orioles 7-0. They beat the Orioles 5-4. Like, oh, look, they're back. The last 2 games, Joe, 12-0 loss, 10-0 loss. So, oh man, we just can't get the hitting right now. You can't get the hitting or the pitching. You're talking about a handful of games where you've gotten eviscerated here while you're trying to win an AL West division.
Not good. And you lost your closer. Where is your Don Alvarez in all of this? Where is he? How far off is he? I mean, there is no doubt. Listen, he is a big part of this offense and this lineup. He is definitely a game changer. But it doesn't change the fact that, my goodness, this is, Houston, for all its faults, they're still 69-56 on the season, Donnie. I mean, they're not a 500 team. But they go through these crazy stretches where you don't even recognize them. Like, what is going on here from Framber Valdez right on down? If they don't win Hunter Brown's start today, I mean, what are you doing? How can we even look at this team and be like, yep, they are going to make another run at the World Series? I don't know.
Like, and what if then to get shut out again, then lose by double digits? I mean, and you're right, they're still in first place. But you see that last week and a half, it's like, what is the deal? First place teams in the American League right now, it's the Toronto Blue Jays. Even though they've lost 2 games in a row, and the Yankees won 3 in a row, still a 5-game lead. The Detroit Tigers now an 8.5-game lead over the Cleveland Guardians, then the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners. That's a 1.5-game lead for the Houston Astros here. If the season ended right now today, Joe, you take a look at the wild card teams as well. Tigers, Blue Jays, and Astros, they would be in as the winners of the division. And then the Yankees, Mariners, and Red Sox would get in, leaving the Guardians and the Royals sitting on the sideline here. A lot to be determined in Major League Baseball. But Philadelphia Freedom. Woo, that ball was flying out of the yard in Philadelphia last night. Let's talk Bryce Harper bombs next.
Can't get thrown out like that. You just can't. It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires. Yeah. Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point if Aaron Jones misses time where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, that Philadelphia Freedom was ringing yesterday, Joe. Did you know that every time a home run leaves the yard at Citizens Bank Park from a Phillies bat here, they ring the bell in center field? Bong, bong. It was going off last night. And by the way, Bryce Harper might have hit a ball from South Philadelphia twice into Center City in Old City to hit the Liberty Bell itself. 2+ home runs yesterday of 440 feet plus, 12 runs for the Phillies, 21 base hits. And by the way, that was off a pitcher that XFIP absolutely loved yesterday. The Phillies said you could take that XFIP and shove it. And Ranger Suarez, a very good start, which was really needed on the news getting yesterday that they don't know if they're getting Zach Wheeler back here in Philadelphia for this season, Joe.
No, 21 hits in all, Donnie. And we talked
Incredible.
about this game yesterday on the show, and we did. I mean, which Ranger Suarez were we going to get? He hasn't exactly been fine-tuned here over the last couple of starts, but he did have a career-high 10 strikeouts there, 6 2/3, 2 runs on just 4 hits. So he figured it out. But it was an awful spot for Seattle, who's, in the midst of this long road trip. 2 games at Citi Field, then they had to pack up, go to Williamsport, play Sunday night. Then they had to leave there Sunday night, come back to play this team that had played at 11:30 in the morning on Sunday, by the way. They were home. It just all signs pointed to Philadelphia. The question was whether or not Philly was really going to have to go to the bullpen again because they couldn't hold on. But 21 hits and all those home runs later, they didn't need the bullpen. They got the Ranger Suarez they needed. And the Phillies, that is what they're capable of. Need to see a little more consistency from them, Donnie, though, down the stretch here these final 6 weeks.
Yeah, the Phillies scored 12 runs and left 12 men on base on top of that. So that shows you how impressive they were at the plate yesterday. Logan Gilbert is a strikeout guy. 2 innings pitched, 1 strikeout, 6 earned runs, 6 hits, multiple home runs, and then he just got after the bullpen. But you're right. We talked about that double travel day, per se, or double travel weekend, where it's like, all right, we're going to play in New York on Saturday, then we're going to fly to Williamsport on Sunday, and then we're going to get out here and travel again to Philadelphia. So you still got to get on planes a couple straight days in a row. You might have that strain on you. Maybe it was on Logan Gilbert yesterday. Did you know, Joe, the first time since 1963, I believe, all Philadelphia Phillies hitters, the starters, had 2 or more hits yesterday. Hasn't happened since the early 1960s. That's how you know how good the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday certainly were at the plate. Toronto played yesterday. They played Paul Skeens. It's like, you know what? Hanging around the chicken coop, see what we can do. Nope. It was the Pirates, a 5-2 victory over the Blue Jays yesterday. And by the way, looking at the statistics, just from the pitching side of it here, winners and losers weren't the starting pitchers in this game. Gausman was decent. 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Skeens was decent. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. 7 total runs in the game. Pittsburgh comes away with a victory.
Yeah, and a couple of errors by Toronto was really the difference in this game that Pittsburgh was able to take advantage of. And we liked this game yesterday, Donnie, as a under. We thought pretty good pitchers battle. Gausman now another start without giving up more than 2 earned runs. And Skeens gave up a couple early, settled back in. But the bullpens were pretty good on both sides. The error was the big difference for Toronto that opened the door for Pittsburgh. But a low-scoring game in Toronto, once again, on the road, fails. And that's just, they're not the same team on the road.
Got to hit, man. You got to hit. We understand you're going up against a really good pitcher in a pitcher's ballpark, and sometimes that's what the equation is. But also, you did have a close game. Like, don't we always talk about, hey, man, just ride along with Skeens and keep yourself in the game, and you should be able to attack that bullpen for Pittsburgh. Not able to do that for Toronto. Maybe it is that home road splits that you talk about, so much easier to hit in a smaller ballpark in Toronto than it is on the road, and certainly just having those familiar surroundings, like even like simple as a batting eye in center field. If we move it over to the awards market, Skeens wasn't great, but he was certainly efficient yesterday. Minus 475 still in that odds market to win the Cy Young. Christopher Sanchez was on the mound tonight against a hot Seattle team, at least at the plate. He's a plus 330 price. So I ask you this question again. Skeens looks like he's just going to win this unless he gets injured, no?
I mean, kind of hard not to see him winning this. And the big question is, all right, how many more starts at 53 and 73 are the Pittsburgh Pirates going to roll him out there come September? I think that's the big question, Donnie.
It is the big question here because it looks, and again, it makes it a little bit easier for Pittsburgh. You can say, hey, we don't have to pitch you in that final 2 starts. You're still going to win the Cy Young. Let's not risk it and go into the offseason. But then again, what the hell does it matter? If Skeens has a Tommy John surgery the next 4 years, makes no difference for Pittsburgh. Not going to win anything anyway. Hey, come out every 5th day and watch Paul Skeens pitch. And Paul Skeens, maybe the best pitcher in baseball. Yeah, he's got a losing record. That's not his fault. That's your team's fault. Hour number 2 coming up next. Let's reach out to the public, see if we want to pay them or not.